Hi, everyone. This is Marina with How I Got Here, and I have a very special guest. Thank you so much for contacting me, Paul Lamar Hunter. He has an incredible story to share. He is the 19th child of 21 children altogether who has actually broke the generational curse. And as you all know, my channel is about inspiration, and I think it doesn't get better than this. Your story is actually amazing. So thank you so much for being here, Paul.
Hey, thank you for having me on as a guest. I'm excited to share a positive story, and hopefully your listeners and viewers will be touched and their lives will change dramatically.
Absolutely. That's always my goal. Because people live their life without realizing what's outside their, culture, their doors. It's just sometimes it's not because you're selfish or, you just live in your own bubble. And I'm hoping that this story does take its course to millions and millions of viewers so that they could see and appreciate what they have, because your story is it inspired me. I'm really honored, honestly. So you graduated an Upper Iowa University.
Yes, I am the first child out of 21 children. My mom actually birthed 21 children by my dad, 17 of us living today, 63 grandchildren, and 87 great grandchildren. So what you have is a village, and it's a big village. You have a football team, you have a basketball team, you have a soccer team, you have a baseball team, and this family is continuing to grow. So my mom to me and my father, they are a legend because
Yes.
this legacy of the Hunter family is going to continue from generation to generation to generation. I'm just blessed to see that none of my siblings never said, I'm going to have 21 children. We were
Right.
like, oh no.
No, exactly.
With 4, 6, 7, we are just content with those type of numbers. But it's amazing because for a woman to birth 21 children and learning that it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of strength to go in there and give birth after birth after birth. And I tell people all the time that my mom and dad, they are champions. They really are champions. Even though we struggle growing up, but they are some true champions to stick it out through the bad times. And when you look at today's society, people being married and what they want to do is upgrade right away. If one have a disagreement, they upgrade, right away. But my mother and father, they stuck through the bad times, and it made their marriage strong and healthy. But it was challenging. So, like I said, my mom actually birthed 21 children by my dad. One father, one mother.
Oh, God. They are legends. They should be. Are they still alive, if you don't mind me asking?
No, my father's not alive, and also my mother just passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
She was 85 years old. And that's the reason why I say longevity.
Yes. Wow. They really are a legend. Like, I don't know anybody who has so many children who are actually, striving. I know that you're the only one in your family that actually changed the cycle, but how did you guys live together? Like, all of you, did you guys communicate well? Did you have any kind of like altercations? How was it? Where did you guys grow up?
I have to tell this story because my mother was pregnant with the 14th child. And they were living at that time in a 2-bedroom house. Sheriff showed up, told my mom and dad they have 72 hours to vacate because there was too many people living in there. So my mom and dad went to church, prayed about it. The next day, a miracle happened. A guy came knocking at the door. He told my mom and dad that he had a house for them to see. My mom and dad followed the guy over to the house. and it was an 18-bedroom house. My mom and dad didn't have the money for the house. And the man said, you can have this house for $1. My mom and dad didn't even have $1. The man went into his wallet and gave my mother $1 to pay him for the house. So God in the Hunter family has been performing miracles after miracles. So that house was a blessing. You know, I was actually born in that house. So
Wow.
with that house, 617 Randolph Street. I'm still familiar with that house. And a lot of my siblings grew up in that home. But in that home, yes, we had some challenging time. Yes, you know, you're going to have siblings rivalry. Some of my sisters used to get into it. Some of my brothers used to get into it. Some of my brothers used to get into it with my sisters. And so it's that family rivalry. But one thing I can say is that every weekend, because my father worked 2 jobs. He worked one job at Case and then another job at Bell City, second shift. And so on the weekends, my father made sure that we were outside. We were out there playing kickball. The girls was out there playing double dutch. And then we would play volleyball. So we always interacted with each other in a positive way. And mom and dad was out there being the coach, you know, being the advisor, being the boss. But
That's amazing.
They made sure that the team was even. It was balanced out. So we had a great time, and also we had some bad times. But you know what? The good times always outweigh the bad times.
That is true. And you know what? I have to say that it's because of your parents' vibration and because of the way they loved each other and overcame any kind of fear. Because I don't think, even though they were scared, but they always prayed to God. So they relied on God to help them out. That is actually very, very strong internal strength that not many have today. I don't think people even realize how much they have. You know, the blessing is, it doesn't come just because you want it. It comes from deep faith. And I wish I met them, honestly. Like I wish I met them.
You are absolutely correct. My mom and dad did have deep faith. That's the reason why I have to emphasize when you get my book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child, you will realize that miracles was happening. You know, I'm talking about miracles after miracles had happened in that house. And, you know, I remember what another incident that happened in that house. I was 7 years old. The house caught on fire. Years later, and my brother Michael, he was able to get everybody out except Thomas and me. And we were trapped in the house. Fire was just consuming everywhere, just everywhere. And I remember the fireman holding me. And he says that you are going to be all right. And they were trying to revive my brother Thomas. And he said that he has a pulse. And the fireman said, we got to get out of here. We have to get out of here. And as they took us downstairs, and we saw fire everywhere. So he took a garbage can. There was two garbage cans. One was filled with sugar because my mom is from Vicksburg, Mississippi. One was filled with sugar to the capacity. The other one was filled with flour to the capacity. So they both empty out the contents, placed my brother in there, placed me up in there, and they ran, and we made it out safely, took us straight to the hospital. I was in the hospital a couple of days, and my brother ended up passing away the next.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
That tragedy right there rocked our world, because that was the first time that we ever dealt with death in the Hunter family.
Wow.
But I can say this, that the people in the community, I'm talking about the Racine Police Department, the fire department, church people, they came out and to my brother's funeral. It was more like a rock star funeral, homegoing for my brother Thomas at the age of 8 years old.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a loss. I'm so sorry for that.
Yes, yes. But we were able to, move forward because people in the community, they came out and they supported us through some thick times and some bad times. They really supported the Hunter family. That's the reason why I give a lot of praise to my hometown, Racine, Wisconsin. Even though I'm no longer there anymore, I'm in the great state of San Antonio, Texas. So,
Right.
I give a lot of credit to the people for supporting us.
That's amazing. That's actually one of the things that actually helps others grow when you have a support system, not just from the family, which is important, but also from the community itself. Because at least people, when people don't even know who you are, then you're either someone who doesn't know how to communicate or because you just don't care. But your family was well known, which means you guys were open-hearted people. You just, no matter how many people were in your household, you still were loving and caring towards everybody else. That's so many people came regardless.
Yes, yes, indeed.
What about like, let's talk about your book a little bit because I'm very curious. What made you write the book? Like, what was the, because I know your book is called No Love, No Charity. What made you come up with that name?
No Love, No Charity. The title it came from my mom starting a homeless shelter, Love and Charity. My mom was the first woman in the state of Wisconsin to start a homeless shelter, and she named it Love and Charity Homeless Shelter. So I came up with the title No Love, No Charity, the success of the 19th child, because I wanted to chronicle my life and also tell the story of how it was growing up in a family of 20 siblings, how the relationship was with my mom, with my father, with my siblings, the different personalities. You have introverts, you have extroverts,
Yes.
you have ambiverts. So I wanted to tell the story of those different personalities, and sometimes we clashed and sometimes we didn't, and talk about how some of my older siblings had to forego their education to stay at home and babysit, the second 10, and how a lot of my siblings grew up angry and upset with a lot of resentment because they became surrogate fathers and mothers at a young age, and they wanted to live a kid's life when they were young. They wanted to go out with their friends, go to movies, go to football games, but they were not allowed to do that because they had to stay at home and watch us. So I tell the story of how my mom, great mother, started a homeless shelter and gave a lot to people who were less fortunate than us. And why she did it is because somebody helped us.
Oh.
And also in the book, I talk about my being the first out of 20 siblings to graduate from college, and how I struggled academically, but what I was able to do was surround myself with positive men and women that can help me. And so I always tell people that, especially kids in the inner city, in the suburbs, I always tell them this, that once you walk into a college institution, there's only one direction that you can go, and that's up. Find the resources. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to raise your hand, because you can become successful if you raise your hands, if you open up your mouth. You can really become successful, because you never know that professor can guide you in the right direction so you can get the help, because they don't want you to fail. They want you to succeed.
Right. Would you ever go back to get your bachelor's or anything like that?
I have my bachelor's. That's my bachelor's degree from.
Okay.
Bachelor's in Science from Upper Iowa University in Business Administration. And also I have an associate's degree from Gateway Technical College in Supervisory Management. So what I was able to do is to study my family lineage, my mother, my father. No one on either side graduated from college. They went to college, but never graduated. So
Okay.
what I was able to do was break generational curse.
Yes.
Just imagine your parents telling you stories that their mother and father did not want them to
Yes.
pursue education. But as I did my research and once I found out, I decided to take it upon myself to lay the foundation in the Hunter family. It became the first. I graduated from Upper Iowa University in 2012. I was on the dean list, and
Wow.
what I did was I just laid the foundation. So now I have a lot of my nieces and nephews graduating with their bachelor's degree, with their master's degree. I have a nephew right now that's working on his PhD. So my job was to lay the foundation. And so they use me to get motivated. A lot of people use me to get motivated to take their game spiritually, academically, socially, mentally, financially to the next level.
That's important. You see, you have such a, I always say that God always tests the people that are very, very, very spiritual. So you suffered, you went through, you lived a very poor life from what I read about your, story. It wasn't easy for you to, find yourself or to have what you wanted, because I remember that reading a little bit that you, even clothes, it was like hand-me-downs, right? It was like for charities.
Yes.
Right. So and to me, it's like God was testing you so much, because it's not about the materialistic things, but it's about the internal things that you were receiving, love from your parents. You had a full, household, like you said, the basketball team, the soccer team, like anything you want is right there. And I feel like God really tested you because you have such a big mission in life. You're like, I don't even know how to put it in words. You really are an inspiration. It takes a strong person to not be, dwelling about your life or feel sorry for yourself. You just went for it. And your family needed your strength in order to, like you said, break the generational curse, because not many people, I guess when I was growing up, we didn't know anything about it. We thought that it was in my family, we heard about it, but I didn't think the whole world is on the same level. So we kind of started researching what is generational curse. And then you realize there's the one person in each family, not because the rest of the family are not worth it, but because it takes one person to start. That was you.
And that's the reason why I became the first to graduate from college,
right?
The first author in the family. Now that my book has been adapted into a screenplay,
yes,
we are dealing with. I'm dealing with Tail Flick production company, and we did the marketing page, and we have been pitching it to different production companies and also directors. So I am very optimistic that by the end of the year that we will close the movie deal and have it done, and then we can go out and start looking for different characters to play different roles.
Right. Oh my God, from your lips to God's ears, and I can't wait to see it. It's like, wow, that's such a huge opportunity. Do you see how what people should see from your story is that when you start and you not give up, you start taking the first steps. Look how many doors open up. You don't even realize. Who knew you were going to write it? I understand graduating college, right? Because I know that it wasn't easy because you were struggling. But who knew you were going to write a book? You're an author. You're more than just, hey, I graduated college, congratulations. It's a lot more than that. You went deeper. Who knew anything about the Hunter family? I'm from Russia. I'm also Jewish. I don't know anything about, I know my people, I know whoever I'm hanging out with, and plus we're in New York.
Yes.
There's only so many families, like, we're most of the time just pretty much local. So hearing your story, that's all the way in Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
It's, honestly, thank you so much for not giving up on anything, pretty much, literally.
I can't give up because I'm a fighter and I'm an optimistic person. And I know that my story reaches people and touches their lives. And I hear it from women and men all across the world that might have one child or two or three or four, and they like taken aback because my mother birthed 21 children. And I tell them all the time that if you break it down and do the math, you will discover that my mom stayed pregnant for 15 years and 9 months. That's a lot. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body. And, you know, I was talking to a doctor about my mom, and he was just taken aback, like, she birthed what? I said, 21 children by my dad. And he was telling me that research used to say that it takes 6 weeks for a woman body to fully recover after one child. And he said that has changed dramatically. He said now it takes 18 months for a woman body to recover after giving birth to one child.
Wow. So obviously the genes changed as well.
Yes.
Because women are much weaker than they used to be back in the day, obviously, because there's no way. I mean, I have 2 children and I'm done. I don't want to go more than I'm okay, because it's so my body couldn't handle it, even though I didn't look like I was, big or anything. But for me, it was more than enough. I have, thank God, a boy and a girl, and I'm very happy. But 21 children, like I wanted 4, but I was like, let me stop at 2 because no more. I was blessed, but 21 children, like I said, your mother is she's a goddess. She and your father, like, they're god and goddess, like they're not regular people. To be in the environment that you guys grew up in, to overcome so many obstacles, literally all they had was faith. If you think about it, love and faith, they supported one another. That in its own is such a huge, that's where all the rich, being rich comes from. You're not rich because you have a lot of money. You're rich because you're very faithful. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of faith. You're spiritual. Your parents were, I guess, the blueprint of faith, spirituality. To be in such a difficult time all their life, pretty much. I don't know, how were they together? Can you tell me a little bit about your parents? I'm so curious.
My mother and dad met each other in Vicksburg, Mississippi. My mom and dad was working in the cotton fields at that particular time. And that's how they met. They met, my dad was 17, my mom was 16 and a half. And that's how they met. And they just fell in love working on a cotton field. And they've been together for a very, very long time. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, so and you don't see that in today's society. Like
No.
I said earlier, it's just a totally different generation. But I can say this, I talk about faith, fortitude, and determination. That's what it takes to raise a family, and that's what it takes to be successful in this world. And that's faith, fortitude, and determination.
No, listen, that's incredible. It's like I literally would listen to the story for days. It's so, like you said, there is no, relationships are not the same these days. Everybody looks at how much money you have and how do you look and all that. But when it comes to real problems, how do you overcome it? Like, how much can you actually, what are you offering to the world?
Well, I think that real relationships takes a lot. You got to put in the work. You can't give up. You have to fight each day. I always, people will say that, when people are married, there's that 7-year niche where someone would go outside their marriage and cheat. And I always say that when they have those negative thoughts, that they should always, get into the Word of God and pray and talk to their loved one about their situation. I'm no counselor when it comes to marriage, but I do believe in God, and I am a Christian, and I believe that when you are in a healthy marriage, that you're going to have some struggles. but you gotta work through those struggles. You can't just end it, you have to work through it. So with this generation, it's a little different from the old generation. We don't have big mamas sitting on the porch anymore, because big mamas now is, they in the house because they don't want to have a straight bullet hit them. So things has changed, from, I remember my mom and dad and the people in the neighborhood will always be outside on the front porch. They were the neighborhood watchdogs. So they will watch,
Right.
everybody child in that community on that street. And now you don't see that. People are more on the inside. They in their own little bubble, and they very comfortable there. They don't want to come outside the bubble anymore. So I really do pray for this generation. I hope it gets better. I don't want to see it get worse, but I really do hope it get better. But you are a parent, and I know that people that might be listening to this interview, they need to go out and get the book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child. The book, it will really catch your eye. It will catch your attention. It will be very difficult for you to put the book down. It will just grab you from start to finish. It's a very good book, and it's available at Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.com. One day I will have to come to the Big Apple, New York City.
You should listen. You should. Well, hopefully one day, let me know. I'll be there as well, and I'll definitely purchase the book myself.
Yes.
I would love to read it.
Yes. Like I say, it's a parenting book. It really is a parenting book. It will give parents hope. It will inspire parents to do better. And one thing I can say, I tell people all the time that my parents were never perfect. There's no perfect parents out there, none whatsoever. And my mom grew up in Vicksburg, Mississippi. She had some struggles herself. She's seen a lot of things in that era of 1994 and 1934. And she experienced some things, and she shared some things with us. And I tell people all the time that you can't give what you don't have.
Yes. Yes.
But I love my mother. I love my father, because they gave me life. Not only did they give me life, but we struggled together. And I learned, like Frederick Douglass used to say, that without struggle, there's no progress. And believe me,
Absolutely,
the family has made progress.
absolutely. Listen, like I said, people should. I'm gonna do my best to have so many people listen to your story, because that's the whole point. You cannot grow any other way. Struggle sometimes, people are like, oh my God, why do I go through this? But without struggle, without any kind of, blocks on the road, you could say, right? How can you learn to overcome it? That's how we grow. That's a stepping stone. But again, your parents' situation is a lot different, because they have done so much more. They didn't stop, because that time was still slavery, I believe,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Right. So how can you even think about having a family?
Mhm. Yes. Yes. So I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to share my story on your platform. I just hope that your listeners will go out, get the book, listen to this great interview, because like I said, it will inform them, it will entertain them, it will educate them, to be better people in society, to be a better mother, to be a better father. And
Yes.
most importantly, parents need to understand is that they are not their children's friends. Your children have friends. Your children are looking for discipline. Your children are looking for structure. Your children are looking for guidance. They're not looking for friends, because they have their friends.
Right. No, see, like I said, I wish I met your parents, because they knew how to raise children. They were very, very different and very, very strong. I'm not like that. So I wish I was. Believe me, I have so many melanated friends, we call them like gods and goddesses. I absolutely love because you have internal strength that's different from so many other cultures. It's different because you guys struggle on a whole other level. Everybody knows that. And if they don't, it's not hard to notice, like open your eyes a little bit, right? Even though everybody struggles, but I feel like life is a little bit more negligence towards the melanated community, and it's really sad. But that's, on the other hand, that's how you guys become so much stronger.
Yes, yes. We never had anything given to us.
Right.
Like you mentioned, everything that we received was hand-me-down, but those hand-me-downs did not determine our future.
Right.
So we are humble. We are a very humble family. We know how to live without. We know about the struggle. Other families don't know about the struggles, but we know about the struggle. And so we are very grateful for every opportunity that comes our way.
Right. No, Paul, it's been an honor. It's like truly an honor. Thank you so much for contacting me. I will do my best to let your story out into the world. Anyone who's listening, I'm gonna put anyone who wants to buy Paul's book. It's called No Love, No Charity. You can buy it on every platform, right? Amazon, the bookstores as well, right?
Yes. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, the Kindle, iTunes, you can get it at any bookstore, and it's in different languages as well.
Oh, perfect. Does it have it in Russian?
Yes, all languages.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's amazing. Paul, thank you so much. I will keep in touch with you. If anything changes, if you're in New York, let me know.
Okay.
I'll be honored.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care, Paul.
All right. Bye-bye.